Hi, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates near Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm going to be speaking about the topic of recovery from shame. In the video today, I am writing an ebook currently called Healing Toxic Shame Through Recovery, and as part of my process of writing the book, each week I'm going to write a chapter and cull from that chapter a blog, and then from the blog a video. And this week we are going to learn from a pig. Actually, I came across a really powerful poem taken from nature describes recovery from shame really quite well, quite powerfully. It is a poem by the Vermont poet Galway Kinnell, and it is entitled St. Francis and the Sow. And it goes like this: The bud stands for all things, even those things that don't flower. For everything flowers from within of self-blessing. Though sometimes it is necessary to reteach a thing its loveliness, to put a hand on its brow, on the flower, and retell it in words and in touch, it is lovely, until it flowers again from within of self-blessing. As St. Francis put his hand on the creased forehead of the sow, and told her in words and in touch blessings of earth on the sow, and the sow began remembering all down her thick length, from the earthen snout all the way through the fodder and flops to the spiritual curl of the tail, from the hard spininess spiked out from the spine, down through the great broken heart, to the blue milk and dreaminess spurting and shuddering from the 14 teats into the 14 mouths, sucking and blowing beneath them the long, perfect loveliness of the sow. So that pretty much describes therapy and recovery for shame issues. What we do is we try to reteach people their inherent loveliness. Their shame has blotted out their vision, and it's caused them to see themselves inaccurately. It's caused them to see themselves harshly and negatively and brutally. And in therapy, we really do put it's like we put a psychological hand on our client's brow, and we give them a blessing. As St. Francis, I guess, blessed the sow. I don't remember that story, but and we tell our clients in words that they are indeed lovely, and that they are good, and that they are talented, and that they are worthy of being loved. And we do this over and over and over again until they do blossom, either for the first time or whether they blossom again and they refine themselves from within, from their own storehouse, from their own self-blessing. So, isn't it cool what you can learn from a pig? And obviously, things to be learned from St. Francis. Shame is a distorter of reality. It clouds your vision, and it causes you to see yourself real negatively and just inaccurately. Shame can cause a thin woman to truly believe that she's fat. It can cause good people to believe that they are going to be sentenced to hell, and that they are evil, and that they are going to burn in hell forever. It can take a smart kid and tell them that they're dumb. I moved around a lot when I was a small child in elementary school, and I didn't start getting A's until like the 7th grade. I thought I was dumb, and I had a great deal of shame about that. I just didn't see myself positively because I wasn't getting that magical A or the golden star that was telling me that I was good enough. Shame will tell talented people that they simply don't have the goods. And in fact, they do have the goods. Shame will tell timid people to not talk and not have a voice. Shame will tell really cool, really wonderful kids that they can't be popular. Shame will tell beloved men that they would be better off and everyone would be better off if they were dead. Shame can take selfless people who never think of themselves and who have a very low sense of entitlement. Shame can make those people think that they're selfish, and they're the furthest thing in the world from being selfish. And shame can take wonderful, special people think that they're not worthy of love. I've been seeing a therapist named Rick Gustafson for about 5 years now, and he has a really cool office over his garage in his home downtown Indianapolis. And Rick has been an addictions therapist in the Indianapolis area for 30 years. And his approach with me has been to be very kind, to be very encouraging, to give me a lot of praise. Certainly gives me accountability and reality testing. But he majors in affirmation and in kind words. And for me, who was beating myself up for addictive behaviors that I was involved in 5 years ago, and I needed that. I needed to be given encouragement and grace, because there was a really harsh voice within me. I grew up with a mother who would yell and scream and cuss and rage, and her voice became my voice. And then I would turn that harsh voice. I had a neediness that was within me caused by childhood abandonment, and that was what caused the addictive behavior. And then my shame comes along and it asks me for the addictive behavior. So abandonment takes you out and shame kicks you when you're down. And what the therapy did with Rick was he helped lift me up and tell me, you know, this is why you did what you did, and this is why people act out in addictive ways, and it's time to be kind and gracious and forgiving with yourself. So what Rick did was he reminded me that of my loveliness. He reminded me of my worthiness. He reminded me of the good intentions of my heart. So it really is an awesome thing in my work as an individual, but also as a therapist, to see people blossom again, or to see them blossom for the first time, where they get it, they take in that they're good enough, that they're not evil people, they're not bad people, and they start to think differently, and they start to have a little bit of a twinkle in their eye, and they learn how to forgive themselves. So truly is a beautiful thing. I'm thinking of one woman I worked with who probably had the worst case of shame of anybody I worked with. Her shame was oppressive and black, harsh and mean and destructive. And she was able to love herself enough to remarry a gentleman and to think much more accurate, much more positive, much more loving thoughts about herself as she changed and as she understood the nature of who her parents were, how they damaged her, and how they created shame, within herself. So shame is that critical, raging voice when you grow up with a parent who is harsh, who is frugal, who is mean, who is rigid or controlling and shaming, and then that voice gets installed as your own, and you use it upon yourself, you use it upon your spouse mainly, you use it upon your kids, you use it upon your employees. But as you work on yourself in recovery, over time, you begin to take in a kinder, more accurate vision of yourself, and to have your voice become more gracious and gentle and self-nurturing and very emotionally healing. Recovery from shame, being a therapist, is sort of like opening up a jail cell and letting somebody out. And they're so glad to be let out of jail. They're so glad for good news. They're weeping tears of joy that they're not a bad person, and they don't have to carry around this dark, heavy cloud of self-hatred that they've had following them around their whole lives. It really is a beautiful thing to behold, to be able to help people take that dark, crushing, negative cloud off of themselves and be able to see a little sunshine and have a little joy. So that's my wish for the reader, that you might find a therapist or a recovery buddy or a therapy group, and that they might be able to put their hand on your brow and remind you of your inherent loveliness, and be a source of reality testing for you, so that you might blossom from within and have a healthy sense of entitlement and be able to really nurture yourself and to engage in healthy self-care by exercising and sleeping right and eating right, and being able to spend money on yourself appropriately. And I wish for you loving and gracious thoughts about yourself. So these are things that I learned from a poem about a pig, that shame is healable, and your voice of darkness and negativity can be replaced with a voice of compassion and empathy and grace and forgiveness and positivity. So thank you for watching the video. I want to encourage you to become a subscriber. This will be our 94th video that's been seen as of right now over 15,600 times. And my partner and I, Jerry Wise, are on a path of making 2 or 3 videos a week. And we have great passion for sharing with people about abandonment and shame and the recovery process that helps you heal the childhood and slowly but surely have a healthier life. So, thanks for watching, and God bless.